going to be working off of this photograph of a Yazidi woman. I'm working in James chapter 1, verse 27, which says, "Pure and undefiled religion before God is this, to look after widows and orphans in their distress." There's just some really horrific things going on with the ISIS and what they are doing to the Yazidi women in Iraq, and just was mindful that our faith has to be walked out every day in a very real way, that our faith is an action verb. It's not something that we're passive about. And so I'm putting this in here to remind me of very tangible, putting a face. So I'm speed painting for you today, and that means you'll get to watch everything that I do, but it will not be in my normal tutorial detail. I always start by watercoloring, and I use, for her face, I use a very watered down mixture of a rose, a little bit of an orange, and a little bit of purple to make that tint. And you can see I'm just kind of putting in her head covering, and when I am working with my watercolors, I'm just blocking in color. So I'm just kind of creating the basic underpainting. I don't really do a huge amount of detail on this. I save the detail for my colored pencils. I will also apologize here for the fact that this angle is just really odd. I'm actually not at home in my studio working on this. I am on a writing retreat this week, and decided to take some time out and work on this because it just was heavy on my heart. And just hearing about all the things that are going on, and just realizing that so much of the world is invisible to me unless I make them real in my heart. And so I wanted to put a very tangible reminder of what's going on in another country, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do as a tangible way to respond to this. So you can see here I'm just kind of coming in. I've added some purple into all the colors that I'm laying in, just to kind of block in the shadows and some of the darks. I dry in between. But I was telling you that I apologize for the weird angle this is. I just kind of had to set my camera up high where I could capture it, and then I realized that it was actually an odd angle from in front of me. And when you're painting a face, watching somebody paint it upside down is not helpful. So I have flipped it over, but it looks like I'm probably standing on my head, but at least you kind of get to see her face come to life. Those of you that have taken classes with me know that I say all the time that for me, doing these kinds of things, these entries that are based on photographs, I keep the reference photo in front of me at all times, and I am only adding a very little bit at a time. Now I want to draw your attention here. I'm actually putting blue onto her skin. If you look back at this particular photograph that I'm working from, most of her face is in shadow, and that shadow gives a blue cast to her skin. So after I got all of the basic kind of pink tones down, I needed to go in and put a blue shadow to her skin. If you've been in my class, you know that I talk about the fact that shadows are always basically the color that the shadow is resting on, and then it has a bluish or purplish tint to it. So that is why I've actually put blue on her face. I know that probably seems a little odd, but you'll see I keep adding that in. The only way that I know how to describe what I'm doing is that I just put very, very little color on at a time. I'm working on little bits and pieces, and I put a little bit on. If I like it, I add more. If I don't like it, it's not a big deal. I am trying to give the sense of the shape of her nose by the contrast of the part of her cheek that is in shadow, and not a harsh line. in real life, people don't have a line that defines their nose. You see it based on its contrast to something else. So I'm working on that. I'm not saying that I'm great there yet, but I'm working on that. Now you'll see I'm doing a thing that actually sometimes makes me nervous. I'm beginning to add some of the actual darks in. When you add darks in, it actually gives dimension to your picture, but it's probably the most nerve-wracking part of the whole process for me, because as long as it's kind of pastel and everything seems correctable, but right now I'm actually adding in darks that give dimension and shape to this beautiful woman who my sister posted this photograph, and it has as a reminder that there are women and children in this world that are just undergoing horrific things at the hands of ISIS, and it's not something that's happening way off around the world, and it is, but them being wronged should hurt my heart, because my faith is an action verb. I need to be taking action, and so if you follow me on Facebook, you'll know that I made a little post talking about trying to figure out what action verbs I could do in association with this, and praying and giving, and for me actually staying involved in the political process, because our country has an impact on the rest of the world. So you'll see here I'm just adding in details. This has been sped up 8 times. I'll tell you, it took me probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I honestly don't think I'm totally finished yet, but I wanted to get it to a point of completion that I could share this with you, because it had been a while since I had done anything where you could kind of watch it start to finish. I'm adding her eyelashes with a black, keep that pencil really nice and sharp, to give her eyes life to them. I'm using a white gel pen to put in the catch light and a little reflection, because we've got a tear on her face, which of course. So I'm just putting a little detail to that, a little more darks. Honestly, if I go back and look at this, here's the finished, or where it is right now. I probably will want to do a little bit more, but wanted you to have this. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and come visit me at illuminatedjournaling.com to learn more about how you can be involved and be a journaler too.